Going back, I remember it all vividly. My first time at Posey Chapel with a couple of my friends. Nobody was really scared. After all, the sightings were hoaxes and never supported with actual evidence. But being Halloween, something was bound to happen, and something happened indeed, because that night was the start of a string of the most horrifying ones in my existence. We arrived at the chapel, cracking jokes about the myths that were told about it while walking around aimlessly, not in search of anything specific. After about 5 minutes in our journey, I saw in the midst of the churchyard an all-white figure. From what I could tell, he was near the age of 10 and had no eyes, just black pits where his eyes should have been. I looked to my friends for reassurance that this wasn't just my imagination, this was real. They told me they could see him too, but just vaguely, as he was about a football field away. It was hard to tell what we were looking at, so naturally we strained to get a better look at him. The four of us started to walk slowly toward him, not particularly looking to hurt him in a way. Once we reached a certain point, I instantly felt a sort of connection with him. I was the only one he looked at, considering he had black pits for eyes. The others could see him looking at me intently. We decided to leave, afraid. We got back in the car and waited about 5 minutes before leaving, just to see if anything would happen. Nothing did, but the minute my head hit the pillow that night is when things did start happening. The first night, Halloween, 2014, I had a dream about him, the boy from the chapel. It was all a recap from that night, except everyone's teeth were rotted and or had cavities. These dreams occurred each night for 8 days. Within each dream, he would get about 10 yards closer, and the dream would always cut off just as I closed the car door. After 8 nights, the dream had occurred 8 times consecutively, and it was about 20 yards away from me. So we went back to the Posey Chapel. The dream stopped after that visit. January 8th, 2015. I'd been staying at my grandma's house, as my bathroom was being renovated. I was on the couch where I had been sleeping. This night had started as an otherwise normal one. I was casually browsing my Facebook and listening to a podcast with one DJ. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Then the lights in the TV went out, and I had heard scratching from the basement. It started coming up the stairs and gradually got louder and louder, so I thought I was going to leave. Then abruptly, silence. I looked over the wall slowly to see what it was. I saw nothing. Questioning, I turned back and I got a glance at everything all when I saw a streak of white. Terrified, I was hesitant to look back, but I seemed drawn to it. So I looked, despite my gut feeling, and there he was, the boy without eyes. He stood there with intense lack of emotion for at least 20 minutes, and then he disappeared. Or so I thought. I looked outside my window, and there he was, hanging from the barren tree. I thought I was going insane, hallucinating. My brother claimed to not be able to see him. Why could I? I snapped a picture of the tree from his eye, sent it to the group chat. Nobody saw anything except what they thought was snow, and I knew it was him. Gathering all my courage, going into my own room, I went outside to take a picture, this time with a flashlight. I only cracked open the door to do so, as I didn't want to leave the comfort of the house. No matter if he could get inside, this time he was sitting in a tree rather than hanging from a noose. That was what struck me extremely hard. I took the picture despite his changed position and rushed inside, sending it to my group chat again. This time they could see him. He stood out against the snow as a lighter, blurry white. After this, I felt compelled to go back outside and face him, ask him what he wanted from me. So once again, I gathered up my courage and went back into the freezing winter night. I looked up at him in the tree and yelled, "What do you want from me?" 10 seconds of silence filled the chilly air, and then, "Please come back."